clearly makes a marriage supper in heaven during the 7-year tribulation, when actually the marriage supper doesn't happen until Christ comes on that white horse and he judges and makes war. It's when the bride or the wife has made herself ready. Prior to that time, she wasn't ready. Now she's ready. Now she's ready for the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's what the scriptures teach. You can teach a doctrine of man, believe a doctrine of man, but a lot of it has its origins or its roots somewhere. And any doctrine of man that you cannot find to be apostolic, to be rooted in the teachings of the apostles who were taught of Christ, of his Spirit, then it's not an apostolic teaching. It is a doctrine of man. And as long as you abide in the word of Christ and those whom he sent, as he says this, if you abide in my word and my word abides in you, then you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So forget listening to Jack Van Impe. Forget reading all those Left Behind books. Search the scriptures. There is another parable. I think it's in Matthew 13 that just came to my mind. I want to read this. This may help solidify some things for you. No, that's the parable of the wheat and tares. Keep that in mind. But what you need to really keep in mind too is also Matthew chapter 5. And Matthew chapter 10, verses 17 through the end. Matthew 5 talks about blessed for being persecuted. John 17 talks about or I don't know if the 17th or it's the 15th, the 14th, 15th, or 16th chapter talks about being hated for Christ's name's sake. I'm not going to deal with all these scriptures. We could, but it could be timely. But I wonder why in Matthew 24:15 he says, when you see the abomination of desolation. Who's he speaking here to? He's speaking to his disciples. Are you a disciple? Is that verse speaking to you? Or are you omitted from that? The other thing is, I think Paul could possibly prophetically be speaking about this day and age in his epistle to one of his epistles to the Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I think I'm going to close with this. Make a couple of points here. Verse 1 connects the coming of the Lord with our gathering together unto him. Now we request you, brethren, I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible version. Now we request you, brethren, with regard to the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to him. His coming, our gathering together to him. When? One event. That you not be quickly shaken from your composure or be disturbed either by a spirit or a message or a letter as if from us, to the effect that the day of the Lord has come. Don't be worried. Let no one in any way deceive you, for it will not come unless the apostasy comes first, or a falling away from faith, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself above every so-called God or object of worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, displaying himself as being God. Do you not remember that while I was still with you, I was telling you these things? And you know what restrains him now, so that in his time he will be revealed. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he is taken out of the way. Then that lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will slay with the breath of his mouth and bring to an end by the appearance of his coming. That is the one whose coming is in accord with the activity of Satan, with all power and signs and false wonders, and with all the deception of wickedness for those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, so as to be saved. For this reason God will send upon them a deluding influence, so that they will believe what is false, in order that they all may be judged who did not believe the truth, but took pleasure in wickedness. Now, what I wanted to point out here is that Paul says, don't be deceived by anyone. The coming of the Lord, the day of the Lord, won't come until there be a falling away first. Is there a falling away?